All right. Hey, so good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 1st, 2015, and this is the first lecture of NRGY 270. This course is cross-listed with ENSC, Environmental Science, 491. So this is the first time this course has been offered. It came out of a It originally came out of a Department of Labor grant. So the Department of Labor a few years ago put up, about $2 billion in 4 equal chunks, so 4 $500 million chunks to try to revive, reinvigorate two-year institutions across the country. And so we kind of looked for opportunities here in Missoula that would meet some kind of local labor, environmental, societal need. Recycling technology comes up a lot. I mean, it comes up a lot in Missoula. People are like, why is the recycling so bad? Why can't people figure out where the blue bags of Republic are actually going? Why can't, Republic, which I think actually has a pretty robust recycling program globally, why can't they do it in Missoula? The main campus has had issues with it too, so I thought let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone here, do some education, and really treat this course as not only a way for students to fulfill some of their own curiosity, learning objectives, but also give back to the university and the Missoula community too. So that's the big picture background of where this course came from. I also got a couple emails from Professor Vicki Watson in environmental studies. It's something she's passionate about too. So I think we've got a great group where we've got the environmental studies students who frequently will sort of see problems, in fact, we were discussing a few before class started. And then the energy technologists, it's sort of our job to say, well, here's a potential solution. So I think we've got a nice blend of both in the class. So what I'm going to do first, we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we've got 6 students in the class, and I think this is a great blend, and this is really where education is going. We've got a lecture going right now. I do have a link to stream the lectures. Let me show that just briefly. Typically, it rarely gets used, but I just want to let you know that this live lecture streaming link is available. So if you want to be in class, but you're not in Missoula, or if you're on main campus or wherever, I can turn this thing on, and you use it just like a Skype or a Google Hangout or anything like that. So you can hear my audio, which is actually being recorded right now, through this software. It's just Camtasia. It's been running for 3 minutes. These videos will all go up on YouTube. So you get the lecture in 3 modes, either face-to-face, we can stream it, or you can watch it archivally. So you got all 3 of those methods. I know some people have other classes, so those are the 3 ways. So before we get into the syllabus and all that kind of boring stuff, I wanted to go into some of the introductions, and I thought I would just introduce some of the students who are not here first on their behalf, and then let everybody go around the room and talk a little bit about your own interests, learning goals, because there are so many different directions this course could take, and there's no possible way to cover them all. So I figured what I would do is really let you, the students, tailor your own learning goals a little bit, so that by the end of the semester, it's not just me up here telling you all about it. It's you really doing your own independent research, feeding that information in the class, sharing, and then feeling like you come away with a new set of skills and a different perspective on recycling in general. So let's just look into the first little forum, and we'll have a weekly forum, and I'll try to stay ahead of it each week, and I've answered all of them that I've seen come through. I guess we've got 4 or 5, so I'll just go ahead and spend a couple minutes on Tynan's. So here's Tynan, recently moved to Missoula, still trying to get used to the medium-sized town with very large city traffic. Well, it could be a lot worse. He's talked about his own passion for metal recycling, reuse. One thing I'd really like to do with the course is, in a lot of ways, just assign each person a particular material. So, I've heard people say, I want to do glass, someone else wants to do metal, and that might be a good way to sort of separate the problem in terms of having each person being a specialist. North Carolina. It looks like he's still having trouble finding some of the recycling centers. There's really, the only one I know of is out there on Broadway, and it's kind of self-serve.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a little stretch, though. Really.
Yeah, well, Axman too. Yeah, so maybe there's 2 or 3, but not all that well publicized.
Not very centrally located.
Or centrally located, yeah, good point. Okay, so that's Tynan.
They're centrally located in each other, yes.
And we'll get into that, we'll get into the logistics of that too. Sean Doty, so Sean is energy tech student. He's going to be finishing here this year. He's also pursuing a bachelor's degree in environmental studies. So recycling and composting as much as he can in his house. In Seattle, it's much more ubiquitous than it is here in Missoula. So yeah, he kind of summed it up. Why is Missoula's recycling policy as bad as it is? Well, hopefully we'll figure out why and maybe come up with some solutions by the end of the semester. I posted this too. Well, and while we're looking at that, I'll show you. Is that better, Tim? Yeah. Okay. Okay, thanks. And everybody, in case you don't know, this is Tim Chester. He's my teaching and lab assistant. And in a second, do you want us to hang out for the first 20 minutes, or do you want to make your announcement? Okay. And if you have not posted to this forum yet, here's how to do it. Let's go into 270. I was interacting with a few students over the summer just so we could kind of get ahead of this. And economics, plastic, circular economy, learning objectives from students. So I just compiled one little Word document here. Make that a little bit bigger so you can read it. So it looks like most of us want to be conscientious about it. So one thing this student mentioned was cleaning the materials. Like, how much energy should I really put into cleaning, or is that something that's done downstream? Should I waste my time now, or is that something I can rely on someone else to do? We are going to do some hands-on at the recycling center here. I've already talked with Eddie and Carrie. I've also talked with the Adams Center. They would really like to see some of their big events have better recycling compliance. We will get into embodied energy too. We'll get into that pretty deeply in the class here in a couple of weeks. And of course costs. And either dollar costs, energy costs, time costs, they all have to be considered. And that's Sean. Maria, is this you? Maria, okay, so Maria's actually here. And so you're an environmental engineering major at your home school in Brazil, correct? Nice. And what's the name of the school?
Federal Institute of Education, Science and Technology.
Okay, and what city is that?
It's Vitória da Conquista, Bahia, northeast of Brazil.
Is that the same school Thais was from?
No.
Okay,
Different
yeah,
school.
okay. Well, great. Well, I'm glad you're here. We've got a lot of great Brazilian engineering students here, so and I'm sure we'll learn a lot from you as well. Electronic waste, tire rubber, and metals. Okay, so we've been doing some things with electronic waste. I'm sure we'll get to that with Shelley's work here in a little bit. Tire rubber too, just one thing I happened across very recently, but there was a plea from our federal government during World War II, and maybe I as well, to get as much recycled rubber back through the industrial complex as possible, because there are, strategic national rubber reserves across the planet, and if you lose access to that, well, then you have to turn to recycling. So that's a big one. For companies. So when you say economically feasible alternatives, you mean different materials? That would be alternatives to the conventional metal, rubber? Okay. Okay. This is Bill. Industrial scale composting. I was working with another student this summer who would really like to see that happen too. And I think what we're going to find is to solve the problem, it's not just a grassroots effort, it's not just a top-down effort, it really has to be the whole system working together, so I think you need them both. Less available in rural parts, yes. Neat, okay, yeah, and I think I have an answer to that, Will. I've been working with a local recycler here, and as it turns out, most of what he's doing is just providing a curbside and a drop-off. And he's just consolidating that, so you don't have 60,000 people show up at the drop-off station every week. He's just more or less being a middleman in that whole, how do you make it more accessible to rural parts of Montana, or just suburbia where you don't want everybody driving to the recycling center every single weekend. They said something about using glass as water purification, and I think what we might find, there might be some local examples of recycling and repurposing that you might not have heard about, and that's just something to look look to as an example of how we can replicate that. Zoe, I think Zoe's an environmental studies student too, so she's catching it online. I've also, just to let you know, I've been working with this zero waste bucket, they call it. We meet at Home Resources every month or so, and if you're into that, we might attend that meeting as a group too, or at least a few of us. Okay, so let's get back into the website here. That was my post. Take a look and see what Rachel had to say. Yeah, I responded to Rachel. It sounds like she's published something. I'm interested to hear what it is. And as we move through the semester, I'm also going to share with you a book that I'm writing too about this topic. And then Jason is with us here in lecture. What are your involvements with Garden City Harvest, Jason?
We have an actual plot with them.
Oh, nice.
My wife, who's actually graduated from the culinary program here, she does a cooking class for them during the summer.
Okay.
Where she taught like 4 classes this summer.
Okay.
She was considered like a garden leader for our garden area.
Uh-huh. And when you say you have a plot with Garden City, is that, where is that located?
Right over at Orchard Gardens.
Orchard Gardens, okay, all right. And then, you say your wife is a culinary student currently?
Yeah, she graduated here, culinary program.
Just finished, nice, okay. So just using local gardening and composting, nice, okay. Efficiently, nice. And then when you get a chance, Jason, if you go into your profile, you can just upload a picture. I think you had one in your previous course. And it doesn't even have to be a headshot, if you're embarrassed. I mean, just put your favorite recycled material or whatever, but just, yeah. That goes for everybody if you don't have your profile filled
I
out.
probably should change my profile picture.
Is that,
It says date night in Montana.
is that Oreo the dog on a scooter, or who's?
No, that's a sheep.
That's looking pretty Montana there.
I thought I'd fit in.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah, so Shelley has been actually doing some electronic waste recycling over in the chemistry lab. So at some point, I'm hoping we can go and check out your operation. And I think I'm with you, Shelley, that zero waste is not possible. And I think we can have a long philosophical discussion about that, because it's true. Any system, whether it's an organism or a technological system, is always processing matter. So there's always good stuff coming in, bad stuff going out. It's just a matter of figuring out where in the ecosystem that waste goes. So, yeah, zero, I mean, systems will always have waste. It's just a matter of where what its next step is, other than land.
Waste usually like a fuel source or something else for the next step. In most ecosystems.
Yep.
It's natural.
Yeah, sure, is either a fuel source or a building source or whatnot.
In nature, there isn't waste, it's all, but our waste is not natural.
Right, yeah, and we'll get into the difference between, organic waste versus technological waste and how best to separate them. That is typically one of the big challenges. All right, and then Shelley, Tynan, Sean, me, Rachel, we talked about, Jason. I don't think we've looked at Will or Sean. Specific recyclables are processed. Glass. Okay, yeah, and then so we looked at his in that Word document. And then Will, when you get a chance, upload your photo or icon. Did we look at Sean's? I think Sean's might have been. Sean is. Sean's been living off grid, and I guess while we're talking about that, I wanted to show this book, and then we'll get into the syllabus a little bit. This is another individual. This is Ray Carnes, and he's been living off grid in Pennsylvania for several years. Or sorry, not Ray, Ted Carnes. As it turns out, I have a connection with him through a mutual friend. He's been off grid, and quite successfully so. He's to the point where he's making his own maple syrup, making his own wine. He's able to refine his own ethanol, make his own methane. So I think he's really got the full ecosystem going, and I'm going to reach out to him this semester and see if we can't pipe him into one of the lectures. So he's a maven and a leader in this field. I mean, some people call it permaculture, but what have you. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna turn the lights back on, and just so that it's feeling more like a class here, I'm gonna see if we can't have each student just come up and say a little bit more about yourselves. Maybe camera's right on you, Brian. Sorry. Is that how's this looking?
Don't think he knows.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's pretty harsh.
It's not too bad though. I think the audio's okay, and well, let me see. Maybe I can. Is that better? Oof. Woo-wee. Brian, so everyone else is, Brian, come on up and give a little introduction, learning goals, and just a couple minutes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brian Davis. I'm an energy student here at the Missoula College. I'm interested in learning as much about recycling because I'm involved in some other groups that are investing in me to learn as much as I can and come back and share that information with them.
Mm-hmm.
So in addition to our typical e-waste and such, I would like to learn how to deal with biomass and composting and such as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Biomass compost, nice. All right.
Okay.
Priscilla, do you want to come up for a second? lighting's bad, so we all look terrible, it's okay.
So, hi, my name is Priscilla. I'm an exchange student from Brazil. In Brazil, my major is environmental engineering. And I'm interested in this class because I really like it, recycle. And I hope to work with this in my future. So, and I don't have very good knowledge about it. So I think this class will help me to create this knowledge, and I'm looking forward to continue studying more about. And yeah, that's it.
I have one quick question for you. I know that a group did a like recycling audit of several buildings in the spring. Were you part of that group?
I'm participating in CAN, Climate Action Now.
Okay.
Group.
Was that on campus or was that somewhere else in the community?
On campus.
On campus.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you? Because I know somebody went through and like measured the volumes and masses of different materials in buildings. So is that?
It was another group of Brazilians.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
not here anymore.
Okay. Well, we have their data, and it's something that we're going to use throughout the semester and hopefully build our own data sets. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
now we can help if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Okay.
That's what it's for. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sam, do you want to come up first? Yeah. Did you run the marathon this year?
No, a long time ago.
Oh, 2015, all right.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an environmental studies student, senior, and am interested more in like the policy side of recycling and sort of learning about the history of like barriers, why we're in this sort of recycling situation that we're in now. It's not a very good one. So getting more like background. Stuff
Okay.
like that.
Are you a Montanan?
No, I'm from Ohio.
Ohio. I don't know if the recycling's like in Ohio. It's been a while since I've been back there. But.
Yeah, the same. It's been a while, but when I was there growing up, it like wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, seeing in like Seattle the single stream recycling and stuff, and seeing like, oh, why don't we have that, or you know, sort of what those barriers are.
Yeah. I think a lot of times it's a population density kind of thing. Just so.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I've sort of introduced everybody else, but anybody else want to come up now, or okay? Good. Well, anyway, Shelley's in the back there, shaking her head. Okay. I know you won't be shy. Jason too, so we introduced you, and then yeah, thanks, and then Maria's there. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just and then Tim Chester's here too. I mentioned him. Tim's teaching assistant, and we're actually looking to form maybe a second team. There's a Home Resource does this thing called SponCon, or spontaneous construction. I think we have one team so far. If anybody's interested in doing a project, they may have a second slot for us. We'll just see. We will not have a shortage of projects this semester, I promise you, but it might be one opportunity to go through and actually build something with the recycled materials that go through Home Resource. I've got a couple
Saturday,
ideas.
September 19th, all day, starts at 8 a.m., ends at, well, projects have to be done for judging at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
The awards thing at 5, I guess, for it.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here really quick. SponCon 2015.
And they're trying to throw a kink in it, Brad, I just read that 2 team members have to be able to carry your finished project 100 yards.
Oh.
So we need a couple corn-fed guys.
Okay. Yeah, we got Cooney and, yeah. So this is it. Unfortunately, it's the same date as the Renewable Energy Fair, or the Clean Energy Fair. Even if we don't have 2 teams, we will have 1 team there. Even if we don't, we should still go and support our team. Here's the other one that's coming up, though, just to get on your calendar. Kind of like Junkyard Wars, yeah. Or the Energy Practicum, same thing. Yeah. This is also that same date, and I'll probably spend most of my time down there, and Tim will be at Home Resource. But this is our photo from last year, so that's our wind turbine trailer. We had solar panels on it. There's another pretty impressive PV system there. So those are two things coming up later in the month. All right, so I'm going to stop the camera, 25 minutes. And so just for the record, so you know, we'll try to do 3 20 to 25-minute sessions in lectures. So it'll be a lot like you just saw. Do some in-class interaction. If you, like I said, again, if you need me to web stream it, I will. And then all this is archived. It used to be on iTunes U. That's gone away. I think a lot of people are like, thank goodness I could never get Apple to work on my PC. It was slow and clunky, and I always had to watch a Mariah Carey video before I could get into my lecture. But but I think the YouTube channel is a little swifter now, so that everything will be up on YouTube.